Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
Welcome everyone to the BX Sports Jedi Network MMA Weekly of Austin and Chef Dan. I am Austin. This is my coach Chef Dan. How you doing tonight, Chef Dan?
I'm doing a lot better, like a whole lot better, knowing that we have some mixed martial arts coming back to us on a Saturday. Like it feels good. It just feels good knowing we're right back to where we belong. We got the punches. We got some kicks, some elbows. It's all coming back to us. Thank you. Feels right at home now. But salute to everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us, whether that be on YouTube or on any of the podcast platforms, whether that be Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, or if you join us on LinkedIn. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Definitely appreciate wherever you guys are tuning in and watching us or listening to us. We appreciate the love and support from everyone. And I know, and I'm glad that MMA is back this upcoming weekend. I know normally we do this Monday, but because the Rangers are having Game 7 tomorrow, we're doing it today. So shout out to the Rangers. Hopefully win Game 7. If you're, we're Rangers, rooting for the Rangers. No offense to any Carolina Hurricane fans watching the show, potentially.
I mean, no offense, but kind of all the offense. We're trying to eliminate you guys and end your season short. So, no offense, but all the offense.
All the offense.
Let's go Rangers.
Go Rangers,
no in NY. Let's go.
That's right. Tomorrow night you'll see on the channel. You'll see the live stream with Chef Dan, my dad Kevin, and possibly Michael Caputo. But yeah, that's definitely tomorrow at 8:00. But we got MMA to talk about. There was no MMA this past week. All the major MMA organizations took their week off, with the exception of KSW in Poland. But there was some big time boxing last night, if I'm mistaken, right, Chef Dan?
Yes, you're absolutely right. In the main event, Gervonta Tank Davis versus Rolando Rolly Romero. Gervonta Tank Davis wins this fight in the 6th round via TKO, counter straight left. And Tank was he was playing this fight methodical, very, very methodical. He got hit a couple of times. You saw that he didn't like the way he got hit. And so he played the outside a lot, was very patient. Romero kind of took control of the ring for the most part. But then when it came time to that 6th round, you watched it progressively from really the 4th to the 6th round, Gervonta Tank Davis started to get more and more comfortable, and he started to land these counter shots that he was banking a majority of his damage to really be on. So around roughly the 6th round, early in the 6th round, no, later in the 6th round, at roughly the 239 mark, he landed the counter straight left and put Romero down. And the referee was right. A lot of people questioned whether the fight should be continued. I thought otherwise. I mean, you kind of take enough damage, and you don't want the guy to be, just be a walking target for Gervonta Tank Davis. So, it was what it was. Romero alleges that he won every round. I didn't see the scorecard to really see if that was true or not. But he's calling for a rematch. Gervonta Tank Davis essentially laughed off the match, but anything can happen. But salute to Gervonta Tank Davis. That was a good performance on his part.
Oh, congratulations to him. He got another knockout victory. I think that's like 20. I think he's got a bunch of knockouts. I think like all but 2 fights he won by KO, TKO, if I'm mistaken.
27-0. I only see 1 decision.
Okay, so all but 1 has been knocked out, TKO. Oh,
yeah.
That shows the power he's got. That's why he's called Tank Davis. So congratulations to him getting another victory. I guess. And
salute to Tank Davis getting another victory. Salute to him winning in that fashion. And he's in the driver's seat as far as in his career. And this is what every fighter wants to be in. You can call the shots. You can either continue to defend these titles, or you can move up in weight and continue your conquest to be the greatest of all time. So salute to Tank Davis.
So to him.
And we also have another fight coming up in the boxing world this coming up week. George Kambosos will fight against Devin Haney. That's going to be a main event Saturday on Top Rank on ESPN. Saturday 11 p.m. I'm looking forward to that one as well. I'm gonna watch that fight as well. You have 2 champions in the ring. They're looking to unify some belts, so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, so we definitely continue on with big time boxing this weekend with Haney and Kambosos on ESPN on 11 o'clock. Said 10 or 11. I'm sorry, I misheard.
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock in the East Coast. Okay. Which makes sense why this upcoming UFC starting at 4 p.m. I believe the main card is starting on. Makes sense why now.
Yep, and even though it's in the Apex, I guess they due to scheduling and working with ESPN, this was the best time slot that they could get. But regardless, MMA is MMA. I'm tuning in.
Right. Yes. Speaking of that UFC event, we might as well just jump right in and talk about it. UFC Fight Night Vegas, 50. I believe it's 58. No, I know it's not.
I mean, right now, what they have it for me is just a UFC Fight Night.
Okay, UFC Fight Night. The main event's between Alexander Volkov and Jair Rozenstruik in the heavyweight division. Both guys who I believe are coming off losses. I know Volkov's come off the loss to Tom Aspinall via his first round submission back in the UFC London card in March, and then Rozenstruik, I believe he's come up with a loss to Curtis Blades. I think that was his last fight.
Yes.
And that was in December, if I'm mistaken.
Yeah, and that one was a dominant victory for Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades, we went over it. Curtis Blades essentially showed that he could stand up with Jair Rozenstruik, which was surprising to us all in the fashion that he did. And then when he wanted to take him down, we know what Curtis Blades can do on the ground there. Right,
yes, definitely. That was surprising considering Curtis is such a great wrestler and Rozenstruik has the kickboxing background. Seeing Rozenstruik get outstruck was pretty surprising. And this fight, this is between 2 guys who like to stand and trade, or guys that just keep it standing. As Rozenstruik, of his 12 victories, he has 11 knockouts, TKOs. Alexander Volkov has 34 victories, has 22 knockouts and TKOs. If you look at the UFC poster, it shows 33 combined knockouts. So this fight's more likely going to be a lot of stand-up, lot mostly on the stand up, and someone might get finished potentially in this fight, or might get a dominant decision potentially.
I wouldn't say dominant decision. I'm quite fearful, especially because I feel like this. How do I say it, man? There's a possibility that it all depends on Rozenstruik for me. I'm gonna start my breakdown with that.
Okay.
It all depends on Rozenstruik for me, because if he comes in lackluster, I feel like this is gonna be a lackluster fight, because what Volkov is gonna do is stand on the outside and pick him apart. And we all love the sweet science of fighting, but as far as someone on the outside picking someone apart in MMA, it's not the most exciting fight. You're kind of just waiting for bombs to go off. Now, if Rozenstruik pressures Alexander Volkov, that may force Volkov into being a creative striker. If he's a creative striker, we're in for a treat. That's my breakdown for the fight.
Yeah, it makes sense. Everything you just said about this fight. It depends what Rozenstruik shows up. If Rozenstruik is out there, it's not I don't want to. No, phrase not the right word. Not hesitant. That's the correct word. If he's not hesitant and he's going out there and just it's going out there trying to hurt Volkov while also not being reckless, it can definitely be. It might force Volkov to change his game plan, and that could lead to an exciting fight between the two. Also, for Volkov, one thing I think he will try to do is fight long. Use jab, keep distance, throw knees too. If Rozenstruik gets close, throw knees, because Volkov is the taller fighter. He's 6'7". I think Rozenstruik's like 6'3". Volkov's most of his fights is a taller guy. I mean, it's not many 6'7" guys fighting in the UFC and heavyweight division. Just to be honest, he's always got a size advantage or a height advantage compared to most guys. And so he's definitely expecting to try to fight long and keep the fight at range. Like I said, fighting the outside. I definitely see that. And if for Rozenstruik, if he can beat Volkov, this would be a big victory for Volkov, because I look at his UFC run. Volkov does the guys he loses to are usually like the top echelon of the heavyweight division. I mean, Tom Aspinall, everyone's high on him, rightfully so, because he did something that most guys don't do. That's just dominate Volkov, destroy him, which Aspinall did, which not many guys did. And obviously, it's a loss to Curtis Blaydes, but Blaydes didn't exactly dominate, destroy Volkov. It was Blaydes won the decision, but it wasn't like he destroyed him. Derrick Lewis, we all know he was down. Derrick Lewis was about a minute away from losing the fight before he made that comeback. And then the Zarrukh fight was, despite winning 4 rounds to 1, was competitive, especially early on. So if you're Rozenstruik, this is a great way to get back in the win column, but also you can beat Volkov. It definitely puts you in the upper echelon of the heavyweight division, like that top 5, top 6, where you're very close to fighting for a world title, like all those guys I mentioned are. And obviously, Derrick Lewis and Zarrukh did fight for the world title. So the big opportunity for Rozenstruik. And if you're Volkov, get back in the win column, get back near the top 10. Well, he's in the top 10. Get back near the top 5, rather, to where you're right there in the title mix. And that's really what's in stake for both fighters. Winning this fight and establish themselves as someone that's still in the title mix, to where they're only maybe 2 fights away from a world title fight. In this heavyweight division, that's become a very competitive, very exciting division. I mean, with Lewis, I mentioned these two, Aspinall, Blaydes, who are fighting in July, Zarrukh who's fighting, Taito Ivasa, etc. Who knows with Ngannou, and then you got Stipe still around. This heavyweight division has definitely become a very exciting division of a lot of names, where it hasn't been that way for a while in the heavyweight division at times.
And there's always the mystery of John Jones.
Yes.
So the heavyweight division has most definitely been very exciting, and I'm excited to watch this matchup as well. But we can move on from this fight over to the next fight on the card, the co-main event: Dan Ige versus Movsar Evloev.
Movsar Evloev. Okay, there we go.
All right. I didn't want to butcher that. All right,
Yeah.
so this fight here in the featherweight division, you got to tell me, Austin, what are you seeing here? Because I know Dan Ige has to bounce back.
Yes, he's coming off the Josh Emmett loss, which I mean, I thought Ige was going to win that fight. That threw me off. I was dead wrong on my prediction. I thought he was going to beat Emmett. So I didn't think it was a good matchup for him to come back, but Emmett proved me wrong and a lot of people wrong about that fight. And Ige's trying to bounce back, but it's not going to be easier going against Movsar Evloev, who's coming off the dominant victory over Hakeem Dudao. I think I hope I'm butchering his name. Hakeem Dudao, back in UFC 263.
The Voodoo.
The Voodoo. I don't know where I get the Dow from. My bad. The Voodoo. Yes, and that fight, I mean, Hakeem was ranked number 15 or 14 at the time, and Movsar Evloev just dominated him with his wrestling. I mean, he just took him down, controlled him, and then he even picked him up and slammed him at one point. And just, I mean, the first 2 rounds, he dominated Hakeem badly. And then the third round, when the standing, Hakeem did land a left that wobbled Mozart, but Mozart was able to take him down and control him in the final minutes. So I mean, in this fight, it's gonna come down to how does Denis Ige handle the wrestling pedigree of Evloev, because Evloev is a master of sport in Greco-Roman wrestling, which in Russia that's like the highest honor you could be, master of sport or something, master of sport, sambo, etc. in boxing. And he's not a sambo guy, but he's a wrestler. It kind of reminds people of like those Dagestani wrestlers, how they're just so consistent when with the pressure and strength. That's what Evloev has. And for Ige, if you can stop the takedowns or stuff them or get back up from it and have a chance to keep it standing, after seeing his last fight with Mozart's last fight, he can be susceptible to getting hit, especially if he's a little bit exhausted. Especially after you saw the first 2 rounds, he was doing well, but that constant wrestling can get you tired, and then it left Evloev vulnerable to get hit, which he did, and he got dropped. He got rocked in that 3rd round. So hopefully, if you can try to do that, and maybe capitalize and try to finish him.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. But we also know Dan Ige is as good as his striking is, he's more prone to take the fight to the ground. He's more prone to take the fight to the ground. So right now, what I think the tail of this fight is really gonna be, number one, can Dan Ige match that pressure that Mozart is going to come forward with, and number 2, is the striking gonna hold up well enough while he's matching that pressure, so that he can keep it on the feet long enough. That way, he dictates the grappling exchange. But like you said, this is going to be a very interesting fight. Movsar Evloev is a very dominant grappler, but Dan Ige, in his own right, he's got some power, and I'm excited to see this fight in the featherweight division.
Me too, and Evloev's also undefeated as well. Also want to point that out, 15-0.
Yep. Undefeated. Just recently got ranked, and he's looking to move up. So we're seeing a hungry fighter versus a guy in Dan Ige who he needs to maintain his spot. We'll move on though from this fight over to the next fight on the card. Also in the this might be in the lightweight division.
No, I think it's featherweight.
Featherweight division. All right, Mike Trizano versus Lucas Almeida. So Lucas Almeida is moving down to the featherweight division. What do you see in this fight here, Austin?
You say it's going down, huh? Well, I mean, I'm generally not a big fan of guys going down. Typically, usually it doesn't go well. I mean, with a few exceptions, and I do wonder what's gonna, how will the weight cut affect him? Will he be slower? Does he have more energy, or is he gonna have less energy because of the weight cuts? You said for Luke, you said it was Lucas Almeida, right? He's the one that's going down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just see if it's gonna affect him badly, considering guys who tend to go down. Usually there's a higher rate of unsuccess than success, basically, when it comes to weight cutting. I know he is coming off his last fight won in 2 minutes, 2 minutes back in Jungle Fight 103 in the regional scene. This is his UFC debut, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He fought Contender Series, but that doesn't exactly count to UFC. And he
And
lost
that
that
one was
fight.
yep. That was also a decision loss there. But yeah, he's a grappler, so I mean, he's gonna want to take it to the ground immediately. That's gonna be his best chance. He's probably gonna shoot early in the first round, or that should be the game plan. There is to shoot early in the first round. Man.
I am not. Yeah, I mean, he's got. I think all his fights are finishes, or victories are finishes. He's got like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, I'm seeing right now all his victories are finishes, so he tends to finish all his victories. So look for his fight if Almeida to win to be a finish potentially against Michael Trizano.
Yeah, it should most definitely go to a finish because both these guys are grapplers.
And Trizano's come out with a loss to Hakeem Dawodu back in February. So he's looking to bounce back going against a guy who's making his UFC debut, who was 13-1. So I mean, it seems like now I see it. I think I won't be surprised if Luke Almeida wins if the weight cut doesn't affect him. That's if the weight cut doesn't affect him, because that's the thing.
Yeah.
With going down weight can, like I said, tends to affect fighters negatively a lot, but also sometimes it works. I think we gotta see Saturday what happens with Almeida, the weight cut affects him or not, and also to get UFC jitters, making his octagon debut in UFC, despite fighting Apex.
I mean, looking at some of the watching some of the tape of him, it looks like his body could take the weight cut.
Okay.
Looks like his body could take the weight cut, and it would be helpful. So who knows? We shall see. Maybe that gives him a bit more energy to move around the ring.
Okay, I guess. Yeah, that's okay. That makes sense. If he can take the weight cut, then yeah. Like I said, we'll see how he looks Saturday against Michael Trizano.
But we can move on from that fight over to this next fight. I'm gonna take issue with this fight here. Poliana Botelho versus Karine Silva.
Karine Silva, yeah.
Yep, in the flyweight division. This is an introduction for me personally to Karine Silva. I haven't seen any of her fights yet, so I'm gonna be watching. It seems that she is a grappler. She tends to take a lot of her fights to the ground, so we shall see how that goes for her. And she's going up against someone in Poliana Botelho, who she's a striker. Seems that a lot of her losses happen to be by grappling, so she's got to get her defense on. She got to get a grappling defense on game. That's the way her fight is going to be won here, is through grappling defense and keeping it standing.
Yeah, for me, I'm not familiar with Karine Silva. This is my first time watching her fight, so this introduction for me in terms of her. I look at her resume, her record. She's 14 wins, 4 losses, or victories, or by finish, where it be submission or TKO and KO. And so she tends to be a finisher, and she's going against Poliana
Botelho.
I don't know why I can't pronounce names tonight. Poliana Botelho, who you mentioned, is a striker, and a lot of her losses are by submission or due grappling exchanges. For her, it's going to be keep the fight on the standing at all costs, and if you get taken down, try to get up quickly and try to get out of dangerous positions, because you don't, especially someone against like Karine, she's definitely going to finish you. Like I said, all her victories are by finish.
Yeah, your best chances really is you got to stuff all the takedowns early in the first round. You got to get back up quickly, and if you're sweaty a little, that's fine. Second and third round, that's where you're more comfortable, really, taking gambles with your striking.
Right, and yeah, definitely. And Polina, this is her first fight in over a year. Her last fight was a loss back in May of 2021. So she hasn't fought in a year. So see if she's rusty or not, or if you're Silva, that she get octagon jitters, considering it's her UFC debut as well. That's something to watch out for in this fight. So some unknowns that makes this fight, I guess, a little bit intriguing to see what takes place. If any of those things take place, or none of it does.
Yep, we shall definitely see. And we can move on from that fight right there over to the next fight on the main card. The second fight on the main card, Alonzo Menifield versus Askar Mozharov.
Mozharov, yeah.
Mozharov. That should be the way to pronounce it. Yes, okay. This is an introduction to all of us on the UFC, UFC fans that don't watch any of the regional scenes. Askar is basically has been fighting on the regional scenes, and a lot of his fights are finishes via TKO. And if there's one thing I know about Alonzo Menifield, he's gonna finish a fight via TKO. So I'm not expecting this fight to go to distance. If you're a gambling man and you're going on, DraftKings, that's the premier spot to bet on any fight on the UFC. This fight is not going to distance. I'm betting that.
Yeah, it's a good bet. That's a very good bet because Alonzo Menifield, we know a lot of his fights you mentioned are by TKO and KO. Guy's a finisher. Guy likes to finish a lot of his fights, and that's why he has. I feel like watching him fight because of that. And Mozharov, Askar Mozharov, he's also got a lot of TKOs, finishes as well under his resume, fighting the regional scene. This is a debut. Seems like it's a common trend for this card, with the three fights we mentioned, Soul making their UFC debut here, and 13 KO and TKOs for Mozharov. So yeah, it's probably gonna be a finish. I mean,
yeah,
with these two, but especially since they like to, especially they like to finish their fights with KO and TKOs, and so I am interested in see like who finishes who, what round. Does this go in third round? Is it gonna be a first round finish? I wouldn't be surprised if the first round finish with this fight personally.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either if it was a first round finish. But if there's one thing I know, this fight is not going the distance.
Right, exactly. And Mozharov was supposed to make his debut early in the UFC, but unfortunately, several fights got canceled, whether due to injuries, whether from him or his opponent. So he was supposed to fight last year in the UFC, but never did. So this is his UFC debut. So he's been training. We're waiting for the UFC debut. So it seems like maybe he might not be as not as nervous as other fighters. Some would be in UFC. The UFC octagon jitters they call it. It depends, because if you have a good good career fighting the regional scene, maybe it doesn't affect you as much as other fighters potentially. I mean, I always wonder like that with the octagon jitters because people talk about it when they make their UFC debut, how it affects them. I always been curious, like, is it do not? I always wonder if guys who have more fights outside UFC when they make their UFC debut tend to have less of that or not necessarily. I know it's a random question to ask, but I've just been curious. Throw my thoughts out there.
Yeah. But all those questions are going to be answered this Saturday. So I'm excited for this one here. This one is, don't sleep on this fight right here, ladies and gentlemen. I think this one is going to be fireworks. It may contain a potential knockout of the year.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
It may be. I mean, and the crazy part is, I know we were debating. I don't even want to sidetrack a little, but right. I was watching some of the knockouts of the year that happened so far. UFC put out a compilation tape, right, of this year. And I know we were talking about what was the, we were competing between the knockout of Michael Chandler on Tony Ferguson versus Molly McCann and Karolina. Dang, her last name is.
I forget her last name. I know you're talking about. Yeah, Karolina. Yes. Yeah, I know you're talking about. Spinning elbow from Molly McCann. She landed.
Yes, right. That she sends it to the shadow realm. And literally, what I forgot happened this year, due to all the excitement. You forgot it too, because we should have mentioned this. This can't be an honorable mention. This has to be like part of calculations into knockout of the year. Jamal Hill on Johnny Walker.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, that's a good one. Jamal Hill. Yeah, that was a pretty damn impressive knockouts. With the way Walker's body fell.
Like the way Walker's body reacted to that punch, it was just different, crazy. I didn't even want to sidetrack from the card, but yeah, that was a crazy knockout. So I'm expecting that type of caliber of knockout potentially in this fight. It could be. I'm not banking on it, but there is a possibility for that in this fight between Alonzo Menifield and Askar Mozharov.
There's a potential for that in the main event as well between Volkov and Rozenstruik. I'm not surprised that's a contender for knockout of the year because I expected to be finished potentially that fight. It wouldn't surprise me if a potential with that fight as well. Want to mention that as well, the heavyweights.
All right, but from right there, let's seal the deal on this main card. We starting off this main card in the strawweight division. Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Felice Herrig in the strawweight division. Karolina is,
No, go ahead.
This is I'm not even. You know what? I don't even want to beat around the bush. This fight might be the least exciting fight on the card.
Yeah, both women tend to have to just go to decision with their fights, and sometimes it doesn't mean it's boring. Sometimes it could be just they don't have the power to finish somebody, or they just don't, as well. But both girls not as known for their finishing ability, and Karina Kowalkiewicz, it's weird with her because let's not people forget she fought for the strawweight title against Joanna Jacek at Madison Square Garden back in the first UFC Madison Square Garden show 2016. She fought through the title, but she's had a bad run, like not since that fight, but since 2018. Her last win, ironically, was against Felice Herrig back in April of 2018. That was her last victory. And then she's unfortunately been on a losing streak. Lost to Jessica Andrade, where Andrade sent her to the Shadow Realm. I mean, if you go watch that fight, it was bad.
Yeah.
She lost to Michelle Watterson. Yeah. Now you remember, yeah. Then she lost to Michelle Watterson after that, Alyssa Grasso's, Yan Xian, and then Jessica Penne back in August of last year. So yeah, it's 5-5 losing streak. It hasn't been going well for her. Like I said, a woman who fought for the strawweight title back in the day. And then Felice Herrig herself is on a losing streak herself. Not as bad as Kowalkiewicz, but still a losing streak. She's lost, I think, 3 in a row or 2 in a row. I'm checking right now. She's lost 3 in a row. From the Karolina Kowalkiewicz fights to the Michelle Watterson fights. And then she lost to Verena Jaroba back in August of 2020. The Cormier Stipe Miocic 3 card via armbar. So Herrig hasn't fought in almost 2 years, and these are both ladies trying to get a victory who haven't gotten one in a while. And ironically, Kowalkiewicz's last victory is against her, Felice Herrig. So, hopefully both women try to go out there and try to give it their all and try to get a victory. Because I would think both women are desperate to get a victory at this point. Hopefully, it leads to a good fight. Hopefully, it does.
I mean, hopefully, but then the thing is, when you have 2 desperate fighters, the one thing I don't want to see is that they empty their gas tank all in the first round. And so the second and third round, you have lackluster striking and lackluster shots and things of that nature. That's what I kind of see coming down the pipeline. And this one also frustrates me too. I'm going to talk about this fight and the other fight in referencing one of the fights in the preliminaries.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but that's the main card, and I want to get right into it. Neither of those fights to me hold the candle to this fight in the preliminary. This fight should be on the main card because both these fighters are main card fighters. First fight of the night. Aaron Blanchfield versus JJ Aldridge.
Yeah, I'm surprised I found out this was. I didn't know this fight was happening until like this week, and let alone it's on the prelims. Kind of surprising considering, both women are doing a lot better than Kowalkiewicz and Felice Herrig. I know those women, are names that may recognize a little bit more, but still, these are 2 women who have better runs recently than Kowalkiewicz and Felice Herrig. So I kind of get where you're coming from.
Like I'm not even saying co-main event or main event,
No.
but main card. Both of these fighters, especially Erin Blanchfield,
Yeah.
she is a hot ticket that has been coming up on the UFC, and there should have been an easy alley. I mean, this could still be an easy alley-oop. First fight of the night, main card. Hopefully enough people pay attention, especially coming off of a weekend where there has been no MMA. People could immediately, as soon as the card starts, the first thing they want to jump into is the first fight of the preliminaries. So this should be an alley-oop for both fighters. Man, this fight should immediately rise the stock of both fighters to where they should be telling Dana White, like, you messed up. Both of these fighters should have been on the main card.
I agree. JJ Alter's on a 3-fight winning streak, and then even her last fight, her last loss was a split decision against Sabina Mazo. So it wasn't like, it was close. Some people thought she might have won the fights. And then Blanchfield's 8-1, and I'm trying to see what winning streak she's on. I know she has the victory over Maverick. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think she's a 2 or 3 fight winning streak.
5-fight winning streak.
5-fight winning streak.
She got that impressive victory over Miranda Maverick, who a lot of people were high on, and we're high on too. Miranda Maverick, in terms of what she can do in the UFC, and she dominated her Erin Blanchfield. So watching that lets you know how good Erin Blanchfield can be, fighting from New Jersey. I think she trains in New York now, so she has that New York, New Jersey connection. But still, very, like I said, these two women, both women who are on a roll, probably should be in the main card. Opening the main card, in my opinion. I'm totally with you, Chef Dan. Great point there.
Yeah, that's my biggest gripe, and the crazy part is I'm like watching every single fight on this card. I know there's the Menifield fight. I'm looking forward to that one. The main event, I'm looking forward to that. Co-main event, I'm looking forward to that. And this fight right here, I'm very much so looking forward to this fight on the preliminaries.
Yeah, I mean, my interest level in terms of fights on this entire card, main event 1, co-main event 2. This fight between Blanchfield and Aldrich could be number 3.
Yep.
That or the Menifield fight. It's a toss-up for me personally.
Yep.
Which one, 3 or 4. But it's definitely like one of the 4 fights I look forward to watching the most in this UFC card.
And Erin Blanchfield, the way I've seen her, in her 2 UFC fights so far, she's been consistent. So I kind of have her above Menifield because Menifield hasn't been consistent.
Yeah, he's come up a loss to William Knight.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah, good point there. But yeah, puzzling decision by the UFC, and I don't get that at all. But it is what it is, as Max Holloway likes to say.
Yep. Is there any other fight on the preliminaries that you're very interested in yourself?
I'm looking right now. I'm trying to see. That was the one. That one, the Blanchfield and Aldrich fight.
All right. So then for me, the only 2 other fights that I see on the preliminaries that I have great interest in. Jeff Molina versus Zhalgas Zhumagulov.
Tough name to pronounce. That's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
Zhalgas Zhumagulov. Damn, that's tough.
Jeff Molina he's a very interesting prospect. Very good striker. Can grapple very well, but he's a very good striker. Zhalgas, I may have watched the fight of his, but I don't remember it.
Sounds familiar. His name is familiar. I don't know where, but I feel like I've seen him.
The loss against Manel Kopp in the first round.
Oh, okay.
Lost against Starboy, so he needs to rebound there. That one I'm interested in. And the other one, Tony Gravely versus Johnny Munoz Jr. That one I'm interested in because I know those 2 guys are very good strikers.
Okay, yeah. And the main card starts at 4 p.m. ESPN Plus, and then the prelims start at 1 p.m. Eastern Time Zone this Saturday. Early start for UFC this weekend. I think Top Rank Boxing we mentioned earlier has something to do with that, with the Campos and Haney fights. Yeah,
I'm guessing the preliminaries for those will start around 6, 7 p.m. because that's that's the time that the main card will finish there.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, that's this Saturday. Rozenstruik and Volkov card this Saturday, 4 p.m. starts ESPN Plus. Looking forward to see the two heavyweights see who bounces back from their loss between Rozenstruik and Volkov, and also the co-main event. Ige defending his top 10 spot against the undefeated Russian Movsar Evloev. That should be a good fight. The featherweights tend to have good fights, and I think these two will definitely have a very good fight. Could be fight tonight potentially, I think. But then if Ige is able to stop defend the takedowns, but do have success, it's good. Like I said, it comes down to that.
Most definitely. I mean, but that's the main card right there. That's the preliminary fights that we're interested in. There's also, give me one moment. There's also Andreas Michailidis versus Rinat. I am gonna butcher this.
Rinat Fekredinov.
Damn, man, I am butchering that. We're butchering that. Yeah, all right, we're butchering that. That fight right there is going to be in the middleweight division. We also have Benoit Saint Denis versus Niklas Stolze. That's in the welterweight division. Ode Osbourne versus. I'm butchering this one.
Jeez, they put all the guys with tough names pronounced for us English speakers on this card.
You know what? I need the OG. I need the OG Bruce Buffer calling the fights, announcing the fights. I need him. I need him because I want to see if he butchers it at any point.
I mean, Bruce Buffer says the names like Habib Nurmagomedov don't give him problems. Did he say with the short names that give him problems?
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of short names right here. Zarrukh, Adashev.
Zarrukh Adashev.
Zarrukh Adashev. That fight right there is in the flyweight division in the preliminaries. We have Damon Jackson versus Daniel Argueta. That's in the that should be in the featherweight division. And Joe Solecki versus Alex De Silva is going to be the main fight on the preliminaries.
Okay, yeah. That like I said, definitely that's the lineup for this UFC this Saturday on ESPN Plus. And like I said, there's a lot of people with tough names pronounced for us English speakers. I mean, man. I thought the Polish names would be hard, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, but damn, these other ones.
I tap, I give. Nah. I'm waiting. If the OG Bruce Buffer is calling these fights, then I'm watching. But I need to see. Regardless, I'm watching, but I need to see if Bruce Buffer butchers any of these names. If he has to retool his pronunciation between the beginning of the fight and the end of the fight, we shall see. It's a lot of interesting things to see, not only during the fight, but before and after the fight. MMA is back, baby.
Yes, it is. MMA is back this weekend. UFC. And I think one was supposed to do a show, but I'm not sure. But UFC's back, and next weekend. Well, let me phrase that. After this event, the next event is the UFC 275 pay-per-view in Singapore, as well. So we got pay-per-view not that far away in Southeast. In the first time the UFC is going to Southeast Asia, in Singapore. So that'll be interesting. We'll break that down next week.
Most definitely. They haven't. I don't see any cards really released for that. But when we do get in all that information, you guys will be the first to hear from us. But
about the pay-per-view, it starts at 10 p.m. I thought it was gonna be different because it's Singapore, but they're doing a typical pay-per-view time slot, 10 p.m.
Okay. All right. But we definitely are gonna break that down. Austin, is there anything else you want to bring up that is newsworthy?
Yes, just two things, brief things. Two fights got made that I think I just want to briefly talk about, and that's in July 16th, I believe the main event at UFC Long Island. It's going to be Yair Rodriguez against Brian Ortega. in the featherweight division. 2 top 5 guys looking to bounce back from losses to Holloway for Yair and for Ortega, lost to Volkanovski for the title back in September. So that's the main event for I believe it's going to be the main event for UFC Long Island in July 16th. So that, to my opinion, that's fight of year contender and over it. That's just me. Hopefully I'm right. I mean, I hope I'm not wrong. I think both guys are exciting, tend to be exciting fights, and I think both guys are going to bring it. Plus, they got iron shins, so that's just my guess. That's just my brief prediction. We'll talk about it more, obviously, July.
Most definitely. And it's the second thing you wanted to bring up?
Jamal Hill is fighting Thiago Santos in August.
Yes. That's going to be an exciting fight as well. I'm going to say excitement more so on Jamal Hill's part because
yes.
Thiago Santos hasn't been fighting exciting fights as of recently.
No, he has not.
But this is definitely a chance to redeem himself. Something I wanted to bring up, I know, the news is out there. Kamaru Usman is still injured. So I believe Leon Edwards will be fighting someone else for an interim welterweight championship. Who that person is, we don't know yet. There's rumors that it could be between Colby Covington or Khamzat Chimaev.
Yeah,
those are the 2 preeminent names that you'd have to put up there.
I will say, I think those are the 2 guys that come to mind. Are Kobe Leon for interim belt or Hamza and Leon for the interim belts? It makes sense considering Kamaru is going to be gone for a while, and either way, it makes sense either way, whoever you put against Leon. Whether it be Hamza and Leon, especially since they were supposed to fight like last year, but then COVID happened for Hamza. Or it could be Kobe and Leon, since they're 2 guys, 2 of the top guys in that weight class. So either way, it makes sense if you do one of those 2. We'll find out more information about that. And I think that's if Usman's going to be out for a lot longer, definitely do an interim title fight. It makes all the sense in the world.
Most definitely, and not only that, this is the thing, man. If Colby Covington wins that, and we get a trilogy, I know it's rare you get a trilogy where a guy wins 2 of the fights and they're going down for the 3rd one, but Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman once again building up a fight, that'll be very fun.
And both fights were great. Both fights were excellent fights, and plus there's some people disagree with judging the second fight. I know that's also a thing as well. So either way, it makes sense. Kobe Usman 3 if Kobe were to beat Leon for the interim title.
It's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah,
but we definitely can't wait to find out. That's it on the news note on anything MMA that we could think of. Thank you guys so much for joining us on the YouTube platform. I see we have some comments there. Angelo, thank you so much for joining us. Angelo, I feel a populous.
Yep.
You guys are giving me names to butcher. Said, hey guys, close fight. Tank hit him hard and laid him out. Why do people have to be hostile after the fight? That bothers me. Kambosos will be a great fight. Chef Dan the man. Thank you so much, Angelo. Yeah, Tank hit him very, very hard. It was a close fight leading up to that 6th round. It was a very close fight. Romero calling for the rematch. I know a lot of people are laughing at it, but I don't see any reason for anyone to really laugh at it. It was a very close fight leading up to that 6th round. And then Tank just hit him with that shot. And I see you looking forward to that Kambosos fight. So am I. I will be tuning in Saturday night for that. So thank you so much for joining us. And Maria said, hello, my good friends. Let's go Yankees and Rangers. Maria loves supporting all New York teams, Yankees, Rangers, Knicks. She would love the Giants too. Thank you so much for joining us, Maria.
Shout out to you, Maria. Shout out to you, Angelo, as well.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us on the YouTube platform. But that's it from my end there. Austin, your last words?
Thank you guys for listening and watching us. So wherever you're watching us or listening to us, watching us live or watching us replay, listen to us on the podcast platforms. We appreciate love, support from all of you. Thank you guys for tuning in. And also, happy Memorial Day to our Americans out there. Tomorrow is Memorial Day. So happy Memorial Day to everyone out there, especially veterans and people with family members of veterans as well. As Memorial Day is meant to honor the fallen, fallen military people. So shout out to them and happy Memorial Day to all the Americans out there. And that's about it.
Peace, everyone. Have a happy Memorial Day. Have a good day.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are